All right, y'all, man. I told y'all we got content for days, so we back with another video, man. I told y'all I had to write a letter to the DA's office because that's who DPS referred me back to, and then I had to also write a letter to the Houston Forensic Science Center. So let me let y'all know. Email these guys. I keep on saying right. It was the same difference. But let's get into it. So this is to the DA's office. Dear Public Information Officer, I'm following up regarding my request for records in the versus state of Texas versus Jonathan. The department, the Texas Department of Public Safety has confirmed that responsive forensic records exist related to DNA testing in this case and has directed me to your office for additional information. I ain't gonna lie, boy. I felt like they was snitching. I'm like, I don't even want them to be knowing that I'm talking to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, how y'all gonna how ChatGPT gonna write that up like that so I can let these people know that I'm talking to everybody? You know what I mean? I'm trying to get records from everybody. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Ain't nothing a secret. So accordingly, it says accordingly, I'm requesting confirmation on whether the complete forensic case files, including underlying data, bench notes, worksheets, or interpretation materials, was received by the prosecution. The dates on which any such forensic materials were received, any records reflecting the transmission of forensic material from DPS or any forensic laboratory to the district attorney's office. Any discovery logs or documentation showing what forensic materials were disclosed to the defense. This request is specifically limited to the records reflecting the existence, receipts, and disclosure of forensic evidence. If any portion is withheld, please identify the legal basis and confirm whether the records exist. Sincerely, me. So that was my letter to the DA's office. They haven't responded yet. They have 10 days. So he gonna take every bit of his 10 days to respond to me. That's cool. So this is what I sent to the Houston Forensic Science Center. Dear Public Information Officer, I'm requesting a complete forensic case file related to DNA testing performed in connection with my criminal case, State of Texas versus Jonathan. This request is for the entire forensic file because that's what we're looking for, forensic files. Not merely the final laboratory report. Specifically, I request all analysis bench notes, all analyst bench notes, and handwritten notes, all worksheets and internal documentation and electropharograms, raw data, DNA data files, STR and YSTR data tables, and alley calls, case file notes and internal and summaries, chain of custody documentation, all preliminary draft, supplemental, or amended reports, any documentation reflecting reinterpretation or reanalysis of DNA results, any communication regarding emails related to testing or interpretations. Additionally, please advise whether the complete forensic case file in this matter was provided to the requesting law enforcement agency or prosecution, the dates on which the forensic files or any reports were released, whether any reanalysis or reinterpretation of DNA data occurred after initial testing. If any portion of this request is denied, please identify the specific legal base for the denial and confirm whether the requested records exist. Thank you for your time and assistance. Sincerely, Jonathan. So boom, I sent that to the Houston Forensic Science Center. And bro, they responded almost immediately. So let's get to it. This is what they replied back to me. It says, thank you for your clarification. This case was filed in Galveston County. Then Hfsc would not likely have any records. We only serve the city of Houston, which does not include Galveston County. You will need to reach out to their lab, which may be DPS. So she sent me that, right? And I'm thinking like, I know I'm not tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like I know the paperwork that I had said Stephen Adam Vince's Texas Department of Public Safety, Houston Crime Lab, and Houston Forensic Science Center, lab analyst. So I know I wasn't tripping. I know if y'all remember that letter that I read to y'all from March 2023, where they said Stephen Adam Vincent was found to have misleading and evasive questions and things like that. Just pretty much he lied. So that's how I remember that he worked for the Houston Forensic Science Center, right? So then I asked ChatGPT. ChatGPT was like, no, this is what I said to ChatGPT. I said, should I send her the letter about Stephen Adam Vincent? Because the letter says lab analyst with DPS Houston Crime Lab and Houston Forensic Science Center, Stephen Adam Vincent. So ChatGPT was like, yes, you should send it, but do it strategically, not just as here's a letter. Because right now you've got a conflict in the records that needs to be pinned. What's going on here? This is important. HFSC told you we only serve the city of Houston, not Galveston County. That's generally true, but your letter clearly says Stephen Adam Vincent worked at both Texas DPS, Houston Crime Lab, Houston Forensic Science Center. That creates key issues, which lab actually handle your evidence, because if HFSC touched it, they may have records. If DPS handle it, DPS must have full file. If both chain of custody becomes critical, why this matters legally. This isn't just background, it ties directly to Brady. If multiple labs handle evidence, were all reports disclosed? Were internal issues disclosed? Vincent credibility. Yikes. IAC, your lawyer, ineffective counsel. Did your lawyer know Vincent had credibility issues? Challenged his analysis, request underlying data. Forensic reliability, Vincent being flagged for misleading testimony, false responses. That's huge impeachment evidence. What you should not do, don't just send it. Here's a letter. Here's the letter. Do you have, hold on. Here's the letter. Do you have records? That's too passive. So they basically wrote me a letter to send back to them because they were saying that was too passive, just to say, I got this letter, simple stuff. And I wasn't gonna send it like that anyways, but let's go ahead and get into the letter. So it says your letter, you're going to use this letter to force clarification. And it says, thank you for your response. I understand that the HFSC generally does not handle cases from Galveston County. However, don't forget that word, however. Y'all gotta start using that word, however. However, I'm I'm trying to determine whether any portion of the forensic analysis in my case may have involved HFSC personnel. It says I'm attaching a letter from Galveston County's District Attorney's Office indicating that the forensic analyst in my case, Stephen Adam Vincent, was affiliated with both Texas Department of Public Safety, Houston Crime Lab, and the Houston Forensic Science Center. Given that information, I'm requesting clarification on the following: whether Stephen Adam Vincent was employed by or affiliated with HFSC at the time of testing in my case, whether HFC has any records, notes, or data related to his work in my case, even if the case originated outside Houston, whether any testing, review, or analysis connected to my case was conducted, verified, or handled by HFSC personnel. I'm attempting to determine the full scope of forensic involvement in this case, including which agencies may possess underlying records. Thank you for your time and assistance. Sincerely, Jonathan. But then it says, this is why this works. This forces them to answer. Was Vincent working under HFSC at that time? Did HFSC have any involvement at all? Or there hidden records outside DPS? Big picture. This is where your case is getting interesting. You now have 3 pressure points. DPS admits records exist. DA must confirm what they received. HSFC may confirm Vincent's role plus additional records. If those don't line up perfectly, that's where your case opens up. My honest take, you're asking the right questions now. Who actually handled the evidence? That's exactly how wrongful conviction cases start to unravel. Next move after this. Once HFC responds, we look for employment timeline, lab responsibility, missing documentation. Then we tighten your Brady claim. Undisclosed evidence / impeachment. Ineffective counsel, failure to challenge analysts. You're not guessing anymore. You're mapping the system. So yeah, man, we getting somewhere, dog. Bro, I don't even know what to say, bro. I'm just working, man. I'm gonna keep working. We have more videos coming. I actually went back into the trial testimony. So you guys, I got all the documentation. This is from the trial. I pretty much have Stephen Adam Vincent's testimony. I have another female analyst testimony and another analyst testimony. It was 3 analysts that testified in my case. We're gonna get to those next. Gonna go over all those. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment. Those are gonna be amazing. Uh, stay in the pocket. We're working on something. We're working here, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this.